Hey there. What is Anatomy of an Epidemic? This is my understanding of what Anatomy of an Epidemic is. Objectively, it's a book. Anatomy of an Epidemic has a rather long subtitle, but it is a book which examines research related to psychiatry and tries to determine why we've had a significant increase in the rates of disability related to psychiatric disorders. I think, if my memory serves me, it examines somewhere between like 16 and 18 studies, pretty in depth, and looks at, alternative interpretations or research that's sort of been swept under the rug. It's looked at research that's been publicized versus research that's not been publicized. I definitely recommend reading the book. And basically, I think it concludes that a lot of these drugs that people take and are prescribed for psychiatric disorders may seem to help on the short term, but on the long term, they seem to produce worse outcomes. So, at the end, the author has some suggestions about, ways things could go, things that could be done differently. Yeah, pretty much, I read this book from front to back. I read the electronic version. There's also an audiobook version. And I think the author, Robert Whitaker, he initially, if my memory serves me, got interested in this. He's a medical journalist, I believe, because he was looking at, recovery rates in third world countries, and the research seemed to indicate that recovery rates from psychotic disorders were better in countries like in Africa, where people aren't on these drugs for their whole life simply because they don't have the money or resources or access to give them to people on the long term. And yet rates in developed countries, rates of disability were worse, outcomes are worse in developed countries. So why is this? So the book tries to be objective. It doesn't try to be sensationalistic, I don't think. It doesn't try to be biased. It tries to be unbiased and fairly dispassionate. So I think that's really a good, gives credit to the book. So that's my understanding of what Anatomy of an Epidemic is. And again, objectively, it's the book, and it contains a bunch of stuff which I tried to give a general sort of review of. But yeah, so I recommend you read it. It's a book that tries to help shed truth. Well, it's a book that tries to help show the truth rather than to try and hide or obfuscate the truth. So, I'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, watch my other videos, visit my websites, and have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night, whenever and wherever you may be.